Hi everyone. Welcome to the Uncle Talks live stream. I'm your host Pierre, and basically me and my friend Rainier are going to do a little podcast for you today. So basically we're still deciding on what title we should give the podcast, but we are just basically just going to chat the chat. So I will just undeafen myself so Rainier can actually hear me. Alright, Rainier, the stream has started and we are live.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. probably drop in a little bit of an Albert Hitchcock. It's like, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Nice. So how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing fine. It's well. How are you?
I'm doing alright. So,
What you been playing recently?
I haven't played any games yet today, but I did my math stream on my other channel, so that was something. So yeah, like that's basically what I've done today, besides like exercising. But yeah, what about you?
Exercise. Wait, what do you do for your exercising?
I usually just watch like a workout video mainly.
And then you
yeah. I replicate.
Yeah,
I replicate it because I don't want to think about lifting weights. I don't want to count my workouts out loud. But this time I actually had to because it was like a fit test. So I actually wanted to test myself and see like how many I can get with certain exercises.
Okay.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it every 2 weeks. So like the thing that I hate about working out is that I think for like to test how much you can get is that you have to count, and I can't count without counting out loud. And that takes more breath out of my system. So, that's basically like, I guess how it goes for me. Probably that will work on my breathing and my increasing my stamina maybe. Who knows?
Okay. That's good. At least you're being fit. I'm not at all doing anything.
No, that's fine. I mean, like, I remember when I went to the doctor and like the first time I had my weight taken, like I haven't been in a scale for like I think like a long time, and then I checked, I was like 193, and I was like, oh wow, I'm like close to 200. So I decided to like cut my meals down. Like I cut like probably like one meal out, so like I only have like 2 meals a day usually. And
what's your target weight?
Honestly, I try not to set that up, but after I set up everything, so I decided to up my workout. So like I changed the workout routine. So before I would probably do like a half an hour for 5 days a week, but now I'm actually doing a workout that requires me to do 40 minutes 6 times a week. But
so you don't necessarily have a target weight. You just feel like 193 is too much.
Yeah, I felt like it was too much, and I basically just worked out. And like when 2025 came around, because I was on, I guess, I don't want to call it a diet, but on the routine for like about, I think like 2 months. Well, actually like a month and a half. And when last time I went, I was like around like 183. So I was like, oh, okay. So I lost 10 pounds. What I did. So,
wow.
So, it's a start. It's a start.
Very good.
Yeah. So like now I'm actually trying to see how the numbers go. I try not to be a numbers guy when it comes to my weight, but at the same time it's like I wonder if like looking at the numbers will help me be a better scientist in some regard. A scientist for myself, about myself. I research myself. I've written yeah.
Do anything specific with your diet? Do you try to eat healthier or what?
I try to intake more fiber. That's another thing, because because constipation runs in my family. So
do you eat more veggies then in that case, or
I'm trying to. I would say apples and banana. I mostly eat bananas. I mostly eat bananas like every single day, like twice a day.
Wow.
So that's like my routine. But if there's apples lying around, I would be like, yo, I'm gonna have that apple. So like an apple a day basically makes a difference for me.
Keeps the doctor away.
Yeah. Like wink, wink. I mean, what about you? Do you have like a workout routine?
No, not at all. I don't have any. I don't do any of that.
Well, like, you guys don't know what Rainier looks like in real life, and I'm not gonna put a picture of him, but he is a really tall individual, and when I last saw him, he was, like, very, very... I mean, I don't...
Well,
like, I mean, is it offensive to you if I say you're skinny or lean?
no, that's fine because I'll tell you now, my weight is slightly over 200.
Really?
So I am in the same, yeah, I'm in the same conundrum as you. You hit 193, I did, like, I'm at like maybe 205 right now, something like that.
But, like, how tall are you, though? Because you're taller than me.
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, you're 6'1", and I think it's mainly your height, though, isn't it?
No, well, I wouldn't, because I look at that number relatively, right? Because I used to be 160 in college, and I used to be like 170 after college.
Oh.
Which is, in my opinion, what I would consider to be pretty comfortable. Like my target is 170, like plus or minus.
Oh,
like around
okay.
that. If I'm like 180, I'll be fine with it. If I'm like 160, I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
But like 200 is way too much. So yeah.
Okay.
I am trying to like lose like maybe at least 20 to 30 pounds.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, there's no shame in having a panda belly. That's all I'm saying. That's what I call. That's what I call my belly. It's like I got a panda belly. And I think like if I said that like in like a stranger like basically I guess like a, what do you call it, like a meetup session, I think some people would laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a like there's nothing wrong with having a belly though, because especially like I remember back then, like I think when we were in college, right, the dad bod was starting to get like a lot of cred for being like very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, we're not talking about, like, beer belly guys. We're talking about just dad bods. Like, you know, the body that looks like your dad, basically. That's basically what we're talking about. So, obviously, when you're a dad, you basically don't have time to exercise because you gotta take care of the kids. You gotta take care of everybody. And, you know, hopefully the family's also taking care of you in addition. But you just basically love the fact that you just have a belly just to basically say, I'm a dad and I worked hard and I ate a lot of junk food with my kids because I wanted them to be happy and I wanted to cheer them up whenever they were down. You know, It was all that, and, you know, like, I think that's why, like, I think we give a lot of credit to dads, mainly.
Maybe. Although, I mean, for me personally, I do want to shed some of that belly out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I definitely like what I looked like when I was 170.
Yeah.
So, and I do think that it kind of does affect kind of like like moving, you know, if you're like running, I can feel it, you know.
Right,
it's
yeah.
Like extra weight that it's like extra water that's kind of like in you. So yeah, it's making it a little harder to like run per se.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, like, the thing of it is that like we work out because we want to feel good, right? So it kind of like, I guess for me it's like I don't pay attention to the numbers because like I don't really like setting goals when it comes to my weight because like some people get obsessive with that, you know? It's like they get obsessive with the number and then like when they finally hit their goal sometimes, they still feel like they're not satisfied when they look in the mirror, you know?
Okay.
So like
approach.
So I think like for me I'm more intentional with my like with my body and I guess with my path in life mainly, because like yeah, you can set up goals and sometimes goals are necessary at certain points, but at the same time I feel as if like goals are just there, but like don't nail them on yourself as if it's like, oh, I have to have this. Like that nail can be removed and then you're gonna put it somewhere else. You know,
I'm taking you're not a fan of like New Year's resolution kind of stuff.
No, because I know I never do them. Like I never do them because it's the same thing as like, oh, I'm gonna go on a diet, and it's like, nope, I'm back to eating like unhealthy foods. You know, I'm back to drinking boba and like eating like more junk food because I just love food. You know.
Yeah, the gym is always packed in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, like I think a lot of my friends that go to the gym like basically notice that. For me, like I don't really like the gym that much. It just feels kind of like, I think it's because one, it's too many people in there, and two, it just feels like I have to constantly think about, oh, what am I doing on these weights? What am I doing on this machine? You know, that's like, you know, obviously you should clean up after yourself when you use a machine, but at the same time, it's like you have to worry about counting your reps. You have to, like, it's too much thinking.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, like, that's why I like workout videos, because for me it's like, okay, the person's doing it, I just have to copy what they're doing, and like if they're really good, they'll tell you to be careful. Like, it's like, okay, do it slow. I know you're gonna see us going fast, but you can go at your own pace and take it slow. You know, that's why I like that's why the workout videos I watch are mainly like Shaun T's workout videos, like Insanity, Hip Hop Abs, you know, all that other stuff. If you guys know who Shaun T is, you probably know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
Like, he's a, like, I like his workout videos. Like, now I'm on his heart, like, I guess, like, his most famous one, which is Insanity. Like, it's, I guess it's, like, like, it's like those typical workout videos that basically say,
Like
you will
CrossFit?
it's like high intensity. So, basically, like, the first month, you would work out for, like, 30 to 40 minutes, right? But then the second month, you'll be working out from, like, 50 minutes to 60 minutes. Like, per, like, I think, like, within, like, 6 days a week. So, like, the second month, you're already working out, like, 6 days a week, 60 minutes per session.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, the thing of it is that, like, I already did, like, 2 months of it, and obviously I don't have abs, but at the same time, it's like, I feel better. Like, I feel better, and I think that's the point. I think that's the point. It's just basically, like, it's always, like, great when you, like, exercise, and then you feel, like, the part you... Like, I guess when you feel a part that's actually working out that you didn't felt before is actually working. Like, you know, when you actually do a workout and suddenly your abs suddenly feel like they're actually being, like, tensed up.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get like what do you call it? They call it DOMS, right?
Yeah, and then you realize, oh my gosh, like, I probably had so much, like, whether it be fat or just, like, tough muscle there, that now I'm actually working out that part of my body that I didn't know I could feel before. You know? It's that type of thing. But yeah, like the message basically, guys, is like, be healthy, but try to have fun with the regimen. Like, you know, like, you can, like, there's so many, like, I do workout videos because I don't have to think about it, and it's basically easier for me because I don't have to think about it, and plus it just gets me into doing it, you know? But you guys can make it your own. Like, you can basically make your own workout regimen that's unique to you. And I think that's the best way.
Yeah, for me, don't take advice from me because I don't do any workouts at all. I'm too lazy for it. That's why I already feel like there's not enough free time.
I think, like, the thing is that you have to find a part that makes it fun. So
yeah, exactly. That's another thing. It's like, it's boring, right? Like, it's.
I think with, like, working out your body, right, you have to, like, think about, okay, like, what am I interested in that gets me physically active? You know? Like, because everyone thinks about getting in shape is like, oh, I have to go to the gym, I have to lift weights, I got to do all this boring stuff. But do you do that on a daily basis? If the answer is no, then you have to think of I think, like, the best way is to be creative with it. Like, you know, if you love walking, right, then go walking. Because, like, you love seeing nature. Like, you could take your car, drive somewhere far away where it's a good walking path, and then basically just, like, walk. But if you're afraid if you're just taking your car and you're not going to walk somewhere, then just walk on your own. You know? Like, explore your neighborhood. Like, maybe, like, walk as far as you think you can go, and like, hopefully you're not walking on the highway, but, you know, just like walk, like, wherever the sidewalk takes you, you know?
Unfortunately, America is very terrible when it comes to walkability.
Yeah, I agree. I wish, like, you know, America had, like, a lot more, like, walking, like, areas. Like, I think now some areas in America are actually, like, starting to, what do you call it? Create homes where it's like you're in a downtown area, but it's not like city-like, it's more like a village.
I heard of that concept.
Like, you don't even need a car. Like, you basically just walk everywhere. Your local grocers is just a walk away from your home. Like, your local gym is a walk away from your home. Like, all that other stuff. And I think we need that. Like, you know, more community. Like, more community spaces.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, even though you live in a suburb, you might not know everybody that's in your suburb.
I don't know a single person in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
Not
see,
even my neighbors to my left or right, you know?
I only know like probably one or two neighbors that live near me, you know, like, but we don't
Yeah.
communicate as much, and I think that's like the one thing that people are afraid of. If there's like an apocalypse or something, obviously we're not as close with our neighbors as we were back, like probably back in the like early '60s, or probably like early back since like the time of like, I guess, like society, right? Because like back then,
Yeah.
like if you live near someone, you probably know their name, you know their
Oh,
phone
yeah.
number.
I think it comes with the just like prosperity in general, because
Yeah.
we no longer had the need to rely upon others, right?
Right,
Like
right.
back in the olden days, probably like 1800s or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know your neighbors because they're the ones that are gonna supply you with your milk and you trade you with other stuff, services.
Yeah.
Your roof for you, or yeah.
It's like back in the 40s, you would knock on your neighbor's doors like, "Do you have a? Can I borrow a cup of sugar?" Like that old
Yeah.
joke, like that old joke that you would see on TV, and then
But
like,
right now, yeah.
yeah, like you don't see that in the 90s. It's just like, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar?" Is like, this is the 90s. You could buy a cup of sugar like from the convenience store down the road.
Yeah, prosperity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that basically comes with like, you know, like back then, there was like, I wouldn't say there was an abundance, but there was like a lot of food. We didn't go hungry, but at the same time, well, I mean, some people did, but you know, like there was like easy access to actually go to a store and buy food. Whilst like probably back then, you would actually have to grow your food, and you would have to nurture like, you know, the animals that you plan to use for meat and all that stuff, and tend to the chickens if you need to make eggs, all that other stuff. I think some people miss that though, because I think there's some YouTube channels that are successful because they talk about plants, they talk about gardens, they talk about farming.
Oh
Like-
yeah, I've seen some YouTube channels that are like self-sustained.
Yeah,
They
some
have
people
their
live off the
gardens and all
grid.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like I give them creds for that. There's like this one Japanese anime I was watching. I forgot the title, but it's like like the guy gets isekai'd, obviously, but he's able to still access like the internet and able to like order stuff online, and they would get dropped into the world. And I love those isekais. Like, let me
That's
see if
really that sounds really funny.
yeah, let me see if I can find it. Let me just go to myanimelist.net. I'm pretty sure that you guys are anime fan. If you guys are anime fans, you probably know what site I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find seasonal anime. Okay. So let me go to Discord so I can stream my screen to you, Rainier.
Sure.
So I'll stream Rainier my screen. And so that you guys don't feel left out, I will stream my browser for you. So let me see where. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so let me just shrink Rainier down a bit. Oh, whoops. So I'll just shrink his icon a little bit so we can see what's on my screen here. So this is the anime for this season. Actually, question for you, Rainier. Are you checking out any of the anime this season?
I'm curious about that Sakamoto Days because it seems like a really funny comedy.
Yeah, it is. Like, I've been watching it. It's pretty funny.
I'm kept up with Solo Leveling.
Also leveling. Like,
Yeah.
I already know how it ends, so I'm not watching it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a type of person that like reads ahead in mangas. And stuff. Like, it's always new to me whenever.
Yeah, but I am watching Dr. Stone, though. I'm actually liking Dr. Stone.
I've seen some episodes. I don't think I finished the first season, but I think I've seen several episodes.
I think it's like on its 4th season now, I think.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's really a lot. But I think you'll catch up because I think each one is like 12 episodes long.
Oh, okay, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But I'm really watching this one. Kimi no koto ga dai 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 daisuki na.
what is that?
100人の彼女.
Great title, as expected.
Yeah, it's a really, like, do you know about this one?
Not at all.
So, like, it's a typical harem anime, but it's really funny. So, basically, the main character, right? He graduates from middle school, and he feels so depressed because he can't get a girlfriend. right? But then he makes a wish at a shrine, and then the god of love comes in and basically says, yeah, you will meet your first love in high school, but I was being lazy that day, and instead of one soulmate, I gave you 100." And the worst part is that if any of his 100 girlfriends don't fall in love with him, they will actually die.
Oh my god.
But it's really funny, and I thought it was gonna be so stupid and typical harem, but I think it is, but at the same time, it's like, the main character is not like a loser. I don't know how else to say it. Like, he's not like, I guess, the typical harem loser that doesn't have no personality. He actually has personality, and apparently, like, if you like this anime, it's basically you see how much riz he has. So, like he's not like a player or anything. He just knows what to say to the girlfriends that he cares about, and he genuinely loves them, even though there are like hundreds of them.
I cannot. 100 is too much. Wait,
yeah, it's too much. I mean, like, the thing of it is that, like, it's funny because, like, one of the girlfriends, like, is rich, and it's like, oh, don't worry about that, we can have like 100 people, we just have to expand the house. That's all but, like, you know, like, how would you go on dates, like, you know, if it's 100, you know?
Yeah, it's too much.
Like, how would you divide that in a year, right? Because, like, I mean, there's like 365 days, like, what's the right term? Approximately?
Yeah.
A year?
So
yeah, like,
well, you get 3 days per person.
Yeah, you basically
and
barely.
Then the rest is for yourself.
Yeah, and like the rest is like, you know, like, what if we want to go on group dates or like whatever, or like, you know, it, like, that's the crazy part. And not to mention, like, I mean, obviously it's an anime and it takes place in Japan, right? So I mean, that would probably solve the population crisis, but but at the same time, I'm like, yo, like 100 like wives, that's like crazy. But yeah, I'm definitely watching that because, like, I like, obviously, like, I like it because it's just so funny. It's just so ridiculous. It's just like, if you watch it for the comedy, it's like so worth it, I think.
Okay.
I mean, we still have like typical like animes here. I still have to finish watching Setsu. This one in the middle.
Isekai.
Yeah. Like, Zenshu is like basically like what would happen if an animator got sent to the I guess the fantasy world that they designed.
Wait, that is a isekai right there. I was about to say, I'm like, I don't see any isekai in that one.
Yeah, it's like, the thing of it is that I think like she basically like falls asleep and she ends up going to the world that her studio animates. And and the story is that since she's in that world, her power is to basically animate stuff, so she can draw stuff and create it in the world. So yeah, that's the story behind that. I haven't like caught up with it, but I am watching. Let's see, Guild no Ukesugejo desu ga, 残響は嫌ので bossを揃った Dang, like, I always forget how long light novel titles are. I couldn't even read the whole title. Shoot.
Yeah, I'm always curious why they make that kind of popularized.
I think with light novel, it's like basically like they want the title to be the synopsis, and that's why they write it so long.
Yeah.
Like, I think so. Like, what did they put in English? I'm actually curious on what they put in an English title. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to count out on time. I mean, that's reasonable, yeah, because I know what the anime is about. Have you heard about this anime?
Not at all.
So this anime is basically about like, you know, the receptionists at guilds. Like, they basically say, like, you know, irashaimase, and then basically they basically greet you and they tell you what your next adventure is or which adventure you would like to pick. So this is about a receptionist who basically just hates overtime. So in order to get out of overtime, she basically secretly goes out to like the most harshest of missions and basically just destroys the enemies herself. so she doesn't have to worry about doing overtime as a receptionist. And I also like it because it's voiced by Takashi Rie, who voiced Megumi. Megumi from Konosuba.
Konosuba,
Yeah, so like I think like one of my best friends is actually a big fan of hers because she voices also Hu Tao from Genshin Impact.
From Genshin.
Yeah. I haven't watched this one, Happy Lemon Soda. I probably should watch it at least once.
I can see hopefully a trend shift. I'm hoping for a trend shift.
You're right.
Away from isekai. So far, it seems like it's trending towards romance.
Yeah.
It's like straight romance.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. It's an interesting shift if that is the case.
Yeah. I get that. I think like also like I don't have a problem with isekais because I always watch them and I think they're funny. The one thing is that I've noticed that there's a trend where it's like they're not putting like young protagonists as the person that gets isekai anymore. I noticed that they're trying to put oji-sans or like salaryman, right? So it's like, oh, I like this change because it's like, oh, it's actually like a salaryman or like an oji-san who basically is just like teleported there. And it's like, oh, I want to see how an adult behaves in this type of scenario. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the young shonen protagonist getting isekai. I don't have any issue with that. But at the same time, it's like, I love the fact that they make it a more mature person to actually like get isekai.
Although there is something to be said. Like they could just be isekai.
Yeah.
At the same age that they in their previous life.
Yeah.
But most of the time they always like renew a life, right? So they always like almost like they're born into the world, or they're like isekai when they were really, really young.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have like it's essentially like a device to make it so that you can give like a really young person a mature or like an adult personality. It explains that kind of like connection there, because usually you expect a kid to be a kid, right? Like a 12-year-old to be a 12-year-old, but I guess maybe that's what makes it interesting, is you have like someone in high school and middle school that are like have adult morals and have adult worldview essentially.
Right, yeah. Like currently for romance, right? I'm currently watching this one. Kurai wa Metaka ni watashi no kawaii ga suki janai.
It's very interesting because like I should keep up on that. I haven't kept up on it.
Yeah, so the story behind this one is very funny. So it's about like the main heroine. She's like very popular and she's very cute and she knows it. And the thing that's really messing her up is basically the main protagonist. The main protagonist is a guy that basically doesn't show any expression whenever she tries to flirt with him. And the funny thing is that he finds her attractive, but he wants to be a monk, and he's trying his best to clear his head, so it looks like he's being standoffish, when in actuality he's just clearing his head of all the perverted thoughts that she's making him feel. And I think that's what makes it so funny. Like, I think like the newest episode came out today, but I didn't watch it yet. And also, I love the fact that there's also romance involving like office workers, because like this one in the middle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We need more like non-high school representation. You know what I'm saying? Freaking protagonists out there. It's like 16.
Yeah. I mean, like at least like I noticed like I think like the past, I think like 2 to 4 years, there were at least like I think 2 animes that revolved on college students, which was a nice change, I think.
Which makes sense in a way that like it does track like the anime fans, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, the millennials are all like 30 plus now.
Yeah.
So it's even for me personally, it's getting harder and harder to be able to relate to the perspective of someone fresh on a high school.
Right.
It's
right.
Coming of age. A lot of anime is a coming of age story, and I enjoyed it definitely when I myself was coming of age, right? Like if you think I think of like Harry Potter as like the great coming of age story.
Yeah.
Um, and I pretty much grew up with Harry Potter, right?
Right.
But now it's like I'm now like 30 plus. It's like coming of age isn't as like entertaining to me anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I want more to see like how more like adult interactions and like adult relationships, like balancing like work problems with with real life, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, like, the world of Harry Potter, I think, is never gonna go away. Like, I mean, like, everybody wants, like, everyone still loves, like, the world of Harry Potter, I think. I mean, despite, like, the shortcomings of the author, I think that's basically, like, everyone will still love that world. Like, I was disappointed when, like, Fantastic Beasts was not gonna get its last 2 movies. Like, I mean, like, I like the series, but I guess, like, they didn't make enough money for the box office. That's why Warner Brothers tried to cancel it. I mean, it could come back, but at the same time, it's like, like, when, like, is another story, because they could still make... Yeah, go on.
The main series, I was satisfied with the main series. In a sense that, like, even though I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, I'm not too hyped for, like, any other extra ones.
Yeah.
Because I do think that it started well and ended well.
Yeah.
It was, like, a great transition between... like being a school child to essentially being a young adult and navigating the world, and it does reflect kind of like what what I've experienced, where it's like you're a kid, everything's magical, you're protected by the school, there's a lot of exciting learning, and then it just slowly transitions into like there's like real world problems, and then adults don't have the answer. Like you become a young adult with no answers. You have to essentially figure it out on your own.
Right. Yeah.
Because eventually he got out of the school, right? Like towards the end there, like after like on Deathly Hallows.
Yeah.
He's like totally out of the school.
Like,
totally, like living in the real world.
It's like you already graduated because you defeated evil, not because you passed your exams, and basically I think it's kind of funny because of the war, like every student was made to pass because they just fought in a war.
Yeah.
I find that very hilarious. It's like if you guys want to get out of your exams, have a war. Have a war and save everybody. That's basically the way you graduate.
Yeah, and it was just a really nice transition. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like my own schooling was pretty fun. It had definitely had a lot of fun parts, right?
Yeah.
In college. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Getting out of college, it's just all like it's like dreary,
Yeah.
Like now you have to solve real life problems.
Yeah, that's true.
And no one's gonna like help you spoon feed you.
Yeah. I mean, like, people can help you. I believe that. Even as an adult, like, I think the reason why people feel like nobody helps you or no one cares is because, like, the search becomes harder, and sometimes people don't bother searching. They just basically just try to wait until that right person comes walking into their life and basically say, oh, we can be friends now, because we connect. But at the same time, like, I guess us as people, we have to actively search. And the thing of it,
because if everyone thinks like that, then everyone is just passive, right? Like, nothing will happen if no one initiates.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think that the modern world is now designed to like keep us passive.
Yeah, and like there's
like everything can be soloed, so
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, like, the thing of it is that, like, if you feel like you need to, like, go out more a little bit, take it in little steps, And, like, sometimes, like, strangers are willing to talk to you if you, like, say something, like, try to start a conversation. But at the same time, it is difficult, and I do get that. Like, it's hard to, like, walk up to somebody and basically start a conversation.
Yep. It's easier to just, watch anime.
Yeah. Like, I'm actually currently watching this one, Saturday Man ga Isekai ni Itara shite no ni natta hanashi. So this have you heard of this one?
Nope.
So this one is about like a salaryman who basically gets isekai, like obviously it's in the title, but the demon lord that isekais him, he's practically the boss that he really wanted to work for, because like his past experience in his world, like the bosses didn't respect him. They sent him overseas to work in a company that they thought was failing. They didn't help that other company, and he managed to help it succeed. And he, like, but then they moved him to another location, and then he just got hit, and he got isekai'd. Like, hit by a truck. So, basically, like, the Demon Lord summons him to basically, like, help him create allies within the Demon Empire. And he doesn't know magic or anything. He just has really good business negotiation skills.
Very interesting. A lot of the themes in anime are what I would say. It feels to me that the writers definitely have grown up with games.
Yeah.
And other animes, because like it often involves a lot of these fantasy settings, and it's always like demon something and not demon king and like all this like setting.
Right.
And I feel like it's, if you remember like the golden age of RPGs back in like the 90s and 2000s. I feel like so like now the people who are writing these stories are essentially the people that grew up in the golden age of RPG, familiar with Final Fantasy IV or whatever other topics that are like Demon King, this and that. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you'll find like the Demon King setting, so it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Isekai.
Yeah. Let's see what. Yeah. Like I mean, I'm practically watching a majority of these shows.
Wow. Like, let me see what else is in there.
So this one is another isekai one. I'm just watching this because I just like the feels of it. It's a typical isekai. It's not really like, I wouldn't say it's original or anything. It's just like a good watch. Like the one that I'm very interested in is this one, Nihon e Yokoso e Furusan. So this one
sounds like a travel story, like a tourism video.
So the whole anime is about like the main protagonist, like whenever he goes to sleep, he gets isekai'd. So basically, like he goes to the isekai in his dreams, and like the elf that he works with in the fantasy world, she somehow gets teleported to Japan with him when he wakes up one night.
Of course.
And so like she gets exposed to Japan and its culture and its like customs, and like she starts enjoying like actually staying with him. So like every time when they both go to sleep, they end up going back to her world. So I think that's what I enjoy about it. I just love the fact I love the stories where it's like I love the stories where like a traveler or someone that gets isekai is able to bring the modern conveniences of home to like a world that never seen it before. Like say like if they get teleported to a medieval a medieval kingdom, they are able to like summon like say like like a bulldozer or something, or like a car.
Well, you can create it from scratch, right? Like, which is the premise of Dr. Stone, like the whole entire premise of Dr. Stone.
Yeah. Like what I like about it is like I love the reactions of people. They're like, "What is this modern convenience? Like I've never seen such a machine. What does it make?" I love that.
It would be as if like if you had like George Washington freaking get isekai into the modern world, you know?
That would be very interesting. And actually, like I think it would be interesting if you actually had like TV shows like kind of like isekaiing like old figures like to like future times, like they could like I think like. What I think I've like saw this in a video once, like with Western literature, you basically focus on the characters and how they grow within the story, but the synopsis is always like the hero to growth story, you know? It's always revolving around either a hero or heroes, and they grow within this story, right? Whatever the plot may be. But in Japanese literature, I think what I saw in the video was that the person that was narrating the video, they said Japan doesn't do literature like that. The way that Japan does its literature, or at least its storytelling, is a what-if scenario. So, so whenever I watch anime, I ask what is the what if in every story, and whenever you ask that question, you begin to see, oh, like an example, the example we just put out, like Nihon e Yokoso Elfu-san, right? It's like, what if an elf from a medieval world get teleported to Japan, right?
It's asking like a theoretical question.
It's asking like a theoretical question and running with it instead of using the characters to kind of run with the story.
Okay.
So like the one next to it, I think it's the most funniest one. Let's see, Akuyaku Reijo Tensei Ojisan. It's really funny. So like I also noticed this trend too, where there are a lot of like characters that get teleported into the games that they play, right? But I noticed that there's a trend where they become the villain of the character they love. They become.
I actually noticed that trend too. I think that's gotta be like the 4th or 5th one I've seen.
Yeah.
The villainous, and it's of an ultimate game as well. Though.
Yeah.
Like, the ultimate game thing is very interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think it's like because I remember watching, I think like a couple of those, and I'm like, wow, must be a thing, because like what suddenly brought upon the trend of like, we want the character not to be the main hero but be the main villain, and basically see how they would work out a way to actually get out of the villain role within the game that they love to play. I think that's really interesting, and I think like it's like the typical villainous anime, but I think it's funny because the main villainous is actually a reincarnation, like basically is an old man instead of like instead of a young woman, and I find that so funny because it's like it's an old man trying to be a woman, and it's just really hilarious. Yeah, I mean, like obviously, like because times have changed, right? There's like basically like it's just funny to basically see like an old man suddenly taking on the role of like a beautiful villainess, but he has morals and all that stuff, and I think that's like the hilarious part of it, because he's trying to be honorable, but at the same time he's like, what do I have to do in this world? My daughter plays this game, but I don't know how I should conduct myself as this character.
I should catch up. I'll probably try to watch more anime. I've just been very busy because I'm taking classes, but
nah, it's okay. I mean, that happens, right?
Yeah.
But there's also this one is like a pretty interesting one. It's a romance one. Let's see. Okinawa de suki ni natta ko ga hogen sukite surasu.
You should take the JLPT with me. I'll probably take it this.
No, I'm butchering these names, and I'm like, I'm reading the Romanji, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't even read the Romanji here. So basically, the story behind this one is that a guy from Tokyo moves to Okinawa, and apparently he likes one girl, but apparently she speaks in Okinawa Ben.
Yeah.
So he can't understand like the Okinawa expressions and whatnot. So I think it's a really great like educating anime. Like it's like edutainment, edutainment, if that's a word. Because you get to learn a lot about like Okinawa culture and all that stuff.
Okay, so these are all like what? Like how do the anime releases work? Is this a winter release?
Yeah, this is the winter season.
Oh.
But this one I'm really liking. around 40 Otoko no Isekai Suhan. I like this one because it's about a 40-year-old man who basically is able to still access the internet, order stuff online. Yeah, I love this one because like he actually becomes practical. He basically just the funny thing is that when he constructs his house, he actually puts solar panels around his house, and I'm like, dude, what the freak? This is so funny.
Japan always cooking. Always cooking.
It's just hilarious. It's like a typical isekai, but I love like the isekais, like I said, like that takes a person that and somehow gives them the ability to still use the internet or use their phone to somehow connect with modern day conveniences, and they're able to like make a life for themselves because they know that they can sell stuff to people that don't know anything about how these things work.
Yeah, I remember. I think wasn't there an isekai with the guy with the cell phone, and he like.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one had I think like 2 seasons, and I was like,
yeah,
what, or either 3, I don't remember, but like I was like, wow, people must like this anime. Like, when I watched it, it was okay. It was like a typical isekai that I could watch for the season. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, people must really want to watch this show.
Yep.
Let's see what else is here. Oh, this one's funny. Sentai Red do isekai de boukensha ni naru. It's funny because, like, you know the Power Rangers? So imagine one of the Power Rangers get isekai.
Oh my Lord.
It's so hilarious because he talks like, you know, the typical like Sentai, like basically like the power of friendship will unite us and the bond will allow us to fight against the enemy. He talks like that and it's so freaking hilarious. And like his partner is a witch and the witch is like, yo, this guy is like on something, I swear.
Wait. You know, the series to the left of that, I was just reading a synopsis on it. It's another isekai, of course. But, but the isekai is kind of from a place of magic to a place without magic. Which is kind of, could be an interesting synopsis there.
Yeah. I haven't, like, actually I think I've seen the first episode of that. I didn't, like, catch up with that one.
Usually it's like the opposite. Usually it's like you're going into a magical... yeah, like a magical world.
Yeah, usually that's what you expect from an isekai.
It's like, of course, yeah. It's like, oh, you want to get isekai. Of course, you want to get isekai in like the world of Harry Potter or something, you know?
Right.
Versus like the opposite.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? I haven't checked out these. Yeah, like I watched like some, but I don't watch like all of them, unfortunately. Yeah, I haven't watched these. Meita Tekon is still going on.
Of course, I mean, I don't think it's ever gonna finish.
Yo, they're getting close to the boss arc
of Meita Tekonan.
Yeah, like they didn't reveal like his face, but they revealed who it is.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they revealed who the boss is. So, like, you know, like if you guys know, read the manga. I mean, I think in the anime they already revealed it, but at the same time, it's like, wow, it took them like over how many years? Like 1996 to now.
Is this upcoming? No, or this is going on right now? There's 3rd season of Re:Zero, really?
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Is that out already?
I think it's out already. Like I haven't caught up with it though. Like Re:Zero, like. I barely remember, like, watching the end of it. I know it was, like, good, but at the same time, I just didn't keep up with it.
Yeah, let me see. Wow. Oh, well, 9 episodes are out. Okay.
Yeah. Like...
It kind of moves kind of slow, Re:Zero is. It's an interesting plot, but it moves slow because, like, he's having to, like, he has, like, the... Like, essentially, like, a power to... turn back time, and so the plot always kind of goes back and then he tries to like go in a different branch.
Right. Yeah.
So the plot barely moves in a sense.
Yeah. Like I think I got to the part where in season 2 where I think he like meets up with all the witches or like all of the female leads, and then like something happens and they're like in this like I think green field. And I don't know exactly like what happens though. Let's see what else is here.
What else is in there? Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, I know Rurouni Kenshin's coming back. They're doing the Kyoto arc.
Oh, Kyoto arc. Wait, is that just like a remaster or what?
Yeah, it's sort of like a remaster. They're basically trying to tell. I think they're trying to be authentic to the manga. So, like, I have no problem with the reboot of Rurouni Kenshin, but obviously, like, the original one takes my heart because I grew up with it.
Yeah, same.
But what I think the reboot does is probably what I think most people expected from Rurouni Kenshin. but it's more upfront with it. It makes it more shonen. Because, like, when you actually watch the original Rurouni Kenshin, right, it feels like it's an opening to a shoujo anime when you think about it. Like, it felt like it was more shoujo romance, like, when it first opened up. Like, because obviously you have Kenshin, who is a bit of a goofball, but it turns out he was actually, like, a strong warrior with a very dark past, you know? Yeah, like, when you actually, like, I mean, I could be wrong, but if you guys ever watched the original Rurouni Kenshin, let me know. Like, you know, because, like, I felt like it felt more shoujo-esque when it opened up the show. But then when I watched this one, like, the reboot, it does feel more shonen. It feels, like, actually close to the, I guess it's shonen roots. But I think what the reboot does really well is the action scenes. The one thing is that I feel like it's kind of too serious for its own good. In certain aspects. There is comedy in it. But I feel like they focus too much on, I guess they focus more on the seriousness of the story, but not really allowing it to breathe with the humor that was, like, in the original. Because in the original, you knew that there were serious stakes in it. But but there was always times to breathe where there was a little bit of comedy, there was a little bit of, like, thing to take.
Mixture.
Yeah, it was a good mixture. But, you know, like, I think this one, like, obviously animators, as well as, like, voice actors and the production staff, they don't have time to, like, they have to get the show out, right? And I think back then, like, in the 90s when they were making the original one, they had more, leeway to actually, like, kind of, like, create these small moments where it felt like, you know, you were getting closer to the characters. But, you know, I guess, like, nowadays they have to make it, like, faster production and, like, they want to get everything done for the next thing. It's not like the show is going to be bad or anything. It's just that, you know, obviously people want to get their shows out. Especially the executives.
Mahjong anime to the right, top right there.
I watched that one. Like, I really didn't like it.
Do you know Mahjong? Do you play Mahjong?
Yeah, like, I play Mahjong. But at the same time, like, when I watched this one... When I watched Tohai, like, I thought it was gonna be like a Gagi, but it is kind of dark like a Gagi, but I don't like the way they try to gear the protagonist. Because, like, the way the protagonist is like, he's just like a typical high school student, and he plays Mahjong, but they put him into these dire situations where it's like, he has to face the Yakuza, and he has to face... But it's basically a story where it's like the character is too... I guess he's like... I don't want to say he's naive, because he's not. It's more like, he's very normie, and then, like, we're gonna turn him into a badass by making him face the cruelties of the world. So, you know, it's like, there's actually a scene where he gets his toe cut off.
Jesus.
But, like, he's still, like, it's as if, like, he is not enough, you know? Like, he always has to be continuously broken. And I think that's the reason why I kind of didn't like it. Like, with Agagi, like, I knew he was going to be, like, holding his... Like, he's probably, like, what do you call it? The ideal Stone Cold, like, type of protagonist. So, like, with Agagi, I know he was going to have one up on his opponent no matter what. But with this one, it's like, you know... I mean, it's a better story. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like... It's the same way I felt with Shield Hero. Like, I mean, like, most people will probably say, oh, you're, like, into those milquetoast stories. And I'm like, yeah, because... I really don't like stories that make the protagonists feel like they have to become, like, a crueler version of themselves. That's just my taste, because I've had people, like, in my life try to compel me to be that type of person. Or, like, they do mind tricks to make it seem like I have to. And, like, whenever I did, like, lean into that avenue, it didn't work out for me. And I would end up in a worse spot than I was before. So that's why I don't like those type of stories. I mean, some people do, and it does give good storytelling, but it's not my cup of tea. Because I'm just sick of, like, the stories where it's like, oh, there's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of, like, stuff that will make you go insane. So you can't have, like, the mindset of being optimistic or positive because everything's going to shit, literally. So you have to become a bloodthirsty killer in order to survive in this world. And you know, some people, and a lot of people that really think that that's truth, they just shrug their shoulders. It's like, you gotta do what you gotta do. But these are the same people that basically like, no, you can't think that everyone's kind, because like if you think that, then you're gonna get screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like they basically have leeway with one way, but they don't have leeway with another, and I find that very, very ridiculous.
Sure. It's kind of teaching you like the world's cruel. But
yeah. Like I think that's just basically like the thing of it is that like the world's cruel and everything, but does like I think like this is a question I want to ask though. It's like, does that unintentionally put you in a victim mentality in some way? Not like you're not like you're immediately making yourself a victim, but at the same time, it's like, are you immediately putting yourself up to like kind of set yourself up to be sort of like a victim in some way? Because you're believing that the world is against you, and you have to be constantly aware, and you be constantly aware of it.
Well, there's definitely certain viewpoints. Even my mom, for example, I use as a good example of like, you know, you are the only one that will really like look out for yourself, kind of thing. It's a dog eat dog world, zero sum game kind of thing. Yeah. They definitely have a little bit more of a. They're definitely more of a cautious type of. They have a cautious worldview, you know.
Yeah, I get that. So
they're always looking out for themselves and making sure that they're not getting gypped.
Yeah, I get that. Like, and I understand that. At the same time, like, I also believe that we don't live in a meritocracy.
Of course not. No.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you know, like there are some people, like some of my friends, like they will basically like, I think they will rail against like basically people that don't work hard, and but at the same time, like I noticed that they're the ones that really love to laze around and just like, I want to be rich so I don't have to do anything. You know,
sure. I mean,
you know that's.
We all want to be rich.
and I'm like. You talk about hard work and everything, but you just want to get rich so you can laze around all day? That doesn't seem to compute for me. I mean, that's just usually me, but I get it, though. Like, you know, like, you can't be busy all the time, but at the same time, it's like, this is why, like, I think goal setting for me doesn't work, because when I goal set, it seems like I'm just putting my high expectations on something that I think I have to hold on to, but once I achieve that goal, I know it's going to feel like it's hollow. Because then you're gonna create the next big step that you feel like you need to achieve, because either you feel insecure about your place, or the place that you were at was not exactly what you were thinking, and then suddenly you feel like there's another step that will make you feel more happy, but you don't know if it does, you know?
Yeah.
Which I usually think that basically occurs when people say you have to be happy with yourself in the present now, because obviously you're gonna be goal chasing. Which you don't want to be in goal. You don't want to be goal chasing, because it sets you up for a trap that's kind of destined to basically hit you in the face. And I don't mean that as like, oh, you eventually like face reality or something. I'm not talking about it in that type of tone. I'm basically saying that if you're not happy in the moment, then what makes you think that you're going to be happy in a future moment where you don't know yet? It's the same thing.
Some people are lost. What would you do in that kind of case?
I think so. Like, if a person's lost, right? The first thing I wish they would do is just be honest that they're lost.
Sure.
That's the one thing. But I understand why they don't want to admit they're lost, because the one thing about the internet, and I understand why people are like this, is like with people that play online games and the internet, there's this love to be snarky and sarcastic. There's this love there, and I'm like, I don't want to be that, but I meet a lot of people that think it's cool to be sarcastic and completely snappy and facetious, and I'm like, yo, why you gotta be like rude sauce? You know, like why you gotta be such a rude sauce? And like, but you know, that's what happens in movies. It's like, we don't want to deal with the hero that's like an honorable knight. We want him to be a complete badass, so he actually talks like one-liners to his enemy and basically makes his enemy feel like he got into a gotcha moment and all that stuff. Like, it's like, we gotcha, your logic is flawed because I was smarter than you to basically say this to your face. You know, that sort of thing. And everyone wants to have that gotcha moment where it's like, I proved that you were wrong, so now you look foolish now. You know? And, you know, like, I stopped caring about that stuff. Like, it's not my intention or my life's goal to make you look foolish. It's not my life's goal to basically say, hi, I'm right, you're wrong. If you're right all the time and you want to say you're right all the time, you have to be able to hold the responsibility of being wrong when you're wrong. But a lot of people are not up to do that. You know?
Everyone, you know, we all navigate life. It's not, some questions aren't so clear cut, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we have opinions. Cause,
yeah.
You know, you'll have your own set of opinions. You'll have your own set of opinions.
Yeah. I think that goes into, like, basically, like, how should I say? Like, when people try to change people, you know? And, like, we shouldn't change people. And when you stop trying to change people, you realize how much happier you become. Because you're not actively trying to change their behavior.
I mean, you're just in control of what you can control.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like you can't control other people necessarily, right? They do whatever they gotta want it. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So you just live your life.
Yeah.
Whatever you can control.
I agree. Yeah. Because like for me, it's like there will be like some times where I'd be like, oh, I wish so and so would do this or so and so would do that, you know. And then when you actually get down to it, it's never going to change because you know they're not going to actually like change their behavior. Even if you point it out to them, they probably won't do it.
Sure.
Because they probably either think that you're just like blowing things out of proportion, or they think that, oh, you're trying to change me. So, you know, like, and that's also true because it's like, if they try to change you and you're trying to change them, then it doesn't go anywhere. You know?
But how would you approach a situation where if you are seeing your friend or something kind of have like either you see them starting to either destroy themselves or get into an addiction or something negative, right? Like they're about to make a big decision. Like, would you would still try to give advice to them though, right? Like in the hopes that they would change their choices.
The only thing is that like for me, I would have to say that I wouldn't give them advice because I hate advice.
Okay. What would you do in that situation though? Say someone's about to like, I don't know, they're about to get scammed and you can see it and they don't see it. You know, they're like, oh, I'm gonna give $20,000 to this online person that I met. You know, because they're you know, that person's family is sick or something, and then you know they're about to send the $20,000.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, how do I hear about this information? Do I hear?
Maybe they tell you that.
Well, if they tell me that, then basically they're having doubts, so that means that's a good sign. So it's different. It's different when the person comes to me than say like a friend of theirs comes to me and tells me this thing. Because
so you're saying that they have to be open to kind of like.
Yeah, because like the thing of it is that if I don't know about it, then I don't know about it. And if someone is in their inner circle and they tell me they're about to do this thing, like, sure, I will go over and basically ask them why they're doing this thing. And, you know, but the thing of it is that, like, if I try to talk them out of that, they're not going to listen to me. Because they either are going to think, oh, like, you're preventing me from investing in this next big thing that can make my family rich. And, or they probably be like, oh, you're just being too scared. You're being too worried. I'll be okay. Like, you know, like, I know what I'm doing, you know, so, like...
You don't think you'll be able to convince them to, like...
I know I can't, because, like, if a person's, like, already made their decisions and they're convicted about it, like, they have their convictions about it, I can't change their mind. But but as a friend, the only thing I can do is just be there for them when it fails. That's the only thing I can do. Because if they told me then by themselves, then it shows that they have doubts and they need someone to tell them something. And if they think that my word, and they come to me because they think my words can persuade them that it's not a good idea. So that gives me a lot of power in that.
I see. So if it's like if you heard it from someone else who's not the person being affected, say like it's a friend of a friend, right?
Yeah.
Telling you this, then you wouldn't necessarily take action there.
I would take a little action, but I know my actions are going to be folly because if the person is bent on their convictions, there's no way I'm going to convince them to do the thing that I think is most logical. Because to them, it seems like I'm trying to dissuade them from doing something because I'm scared of it, but not they're scared of it, you know? So, like, it's not like I'm saying I won't help a friend. But at the same time, people, like, I know people won't change their minds that easily.
Yeah. No, most people are set in their own ways.
That's why I think circumstances is important, because if the person themselves came to me, I would basically give them my, like, most honest opinion about what I would think would happen. At the same time, if I heard it from someone else and they dragged me to talk to this person, yeah, sure, I will try my best to convince them. But at the same time, it's like, the only thing, like, sure, like, you could probably take away the phone from them from actually pressing the final button. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Like, because, you know, I am not a professional that can deal with people like that, you know?
Makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't really extend advice because it could be seen as, like, you know, you're intrusive.
Yeah.
Like, if you're, like, hearing it from a friend of a friend, for example.
Yeah.
Although, what if last thing is, like, what if your friend of a friend asks you to intervene? I guess you would do it, right?
Ask
if
me.
They say, yeah, like, what if they say, like, oh, I can't convince this person to do the best for them? Can you try?
Oh,
try
like,
to convince.
yeah, like I said, I would do my best, but at the same time, like, I don't think my words have that much power in that circumstance. Unless the person that I'm trying to convince thinks I have that power.
Sure.
So, you know, like, sometimes, like, I feel like my foresight is not, like, really 20/20, but, like, you know, sometimes my friends think I have that, like, because, like, one of my childhood friends, like, they told me that they think that I kind of foresee a lot of things going on. Like, they told me that it seems like I know what's going on around me, and I feel like, no, I don't. Like, I really don't, literally. And, you know, it's like, I sometimes really get confused on why people think I can foresee things. Like, not like the future or anything, but kind of like, I just have a feeling, and I basically just go with my gut most of the time.
Maybe you just come across as kind of like a sage, you know, someone who's wise.
I don't know. Like, you know, I think I'm just an old fogey.
Old fogey.
I'd rather call myself an old fogey because I can laugh wholeheartedly and people are like...
You are.
Yeah.
Talks.
Yeah, you know. Because, like, the thing of it is that, like, when I get older, I don't want to be that grandpa that holds a shotgun and basically is like, get off my lawn! You know, that's
Yeah.
I would be like, yo, kids, like, you see my new drone? Like, you want to play? It's like, I would be like, or I would like to be that inventor that basically hangs out in the back of his garage and he suddenly makes these weird machines out of, like, garbage, or, like, out of, like, tin cans and, like, old batteries, and, like, it's like, yo, Mr. Peter, what are you making today? And I'm like, oh, I'm making, like, a sundial. You wanna help me make it? You know, that sort of thing. Like, I want to be like the Doc Brown of, like, I guess my own neighborhood of, like, you know, if that was the thing. Like, I would make it.
Do you feel like you have a calling to educate or to help people or to be entertaining?
Yeah.
Or,
I kind of feel like I do because, like, I enjoy streaming most of the time, and you know, even though, like, I'm not an expert on math, even though I'm not an expert on, like, streaming or content creating, I like doing it. Like, you know, I just like getting on the camera. I mean, obviously I'm using my V2 model, but I just like just turning on the camera and just talking to the mic and, you know, have it go live, even though, like, no one might be in the chat or anything. And if you're in the chat, guys, and you like our podcast, please drop me a follow if you can.
Yep, Peter is a very genuine guy.
Oh, thank you.
Can't get any more genuine than that.
Yeah, and, like, the thing of it is that, like, even let's say if I don't become, like, a full, like, I guess, like, when I say like get paid as a full-time content creator, right?
Mm.
I still have fun like streaming and whatnot, and
Sure.
and the thing of it is that like for me it's like I'm doing okay, like you know like money is not an issue for me, or at least like hopefully it's not. I'm gonna say the deadly yet, but at the same time like I'm not really too worried. Because like you know if there's a time when I actually have to find a job, I'll get a part-time job, you know, because I still live with my parents, and if I make money I'm still saving it, and like you know if I'm earning more money then I'll just invest it and like also save it, you know. This time it might not be as much as what I was making before, but at the same time it's like at least I know that I will be able to like provide for like a little bit for my family and stuff if they need it. And if they want me to pay bills then I'll pay bills, you know.
Sure.
So like you know all they have to do is ask, and basically it's like okay, sure.
It's interesting that you kind of almost feel like essentially found your calling, right? Like something that you like doing, something you love doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's just kind of funny because, like, I was a very quiet kid when I was in high school and even college, right? Because, like, you know, like, I would talk the most with you. Like, with everyone else, like, you know, like, even though I talked to them occasionally, I always felt like I wasn't as close sometimes. Like, you know, there would be times when I'd be worried if I was like too weird for everybody. You know.
Well, I have my own affinity is with people who I feel like have a lot of like self introspection, or kind of like they think more about the world around them, right? Because I'm not a big fan of just like the surface level. Because there are a lot of things that I see as vain.
Yeah.
But it's really like if you remember Rahul, I also judged Rahul because he was the type of person that can ruminate on an idea.
Yeah.
And like discuss it further, you know.
Yeah, he was like one of our friends from college, guys. Like this guy is literally working in Japan right now, I think. Like he's still working in Japan, right? Do you know?
No, he's back in the US, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you have any desires to work in Japan by any chance?
Not really. Like I know, like I don't like working at a corporate job here, so I know I'm not gonna work.
It's even worse over there.
Yeah, I don't want to work in like Japan, where it's like you know, I don't mind being like, you know, I think it would be fun to like actually do like, you know, like be the typical like use Kaggle, like use and like be like I guess like the service person, but I know I will eventually get tired of putting the fake smile.
Yeah, it'll probably be good to see you like do some sort of like, you know, IRL stream of in Japan, or even like a vlog, you know.
I don't know about that, because the thing of it is that I don't really like walking around with a camera and just basically it's like, because like that's the type of streamer I don't think I want to be, because I bought a gimbal and I would try it out, but it's so socially awkward to do that.
Oh yeah, because people look at you weird and all that, yeah.
Yeah, even with my phone, and I was like trying to take, because like I got tired of using the gimbal, and I just basically held my phone up, and like like you would get hecklers that basically say, "Are you vlogging?" You know, that sort of thing, and you know, like it's just like so like annoying, because like you're embarrassed enough to have it outside, and also you're trying to overcome your fear of doing it. But at the same time, like, it doesn't help when someone basically is just, like, trying to, like, heckle you and basically trying to make you feel ashamed of doing it, you know? And, of course, that might not be their intention. It's just, like, they're just naturally curious that if you're doing that. But, like, to be brought back to be aware of that, that is the thing that really irks me. And that's the reason why I don't vlog in real life. I tried to do it once. Like I tried to put like one vlog on my YouTube channel, but at the same time, like I just felt like that's a whole different animal for me to face.
Sure.
But like, you know, like with my math channel, I might probably make a video about, oh, like what math books do I recommend for people to try out or something like that, you know. I don't know if that's gonna come, but you know, like if you guys want to actually check out my math channel. It's mostly a productive stream, but you can check out my Math Spellbooks Twitch channel as well as my Math Spellbooks YouTube channel. It should be on the same as my Twitch channel for Math Spellbook. So you can check out that if you want to actually do a productivity stream or a study stream, you know. So like you guys can check it out. I just put in the chat for you guys. And also if you guys...
you could, it's pretty much something that you could do like a study session, you know.
Yeah.
They need to study themselves.
Yeah. And I'm also putting up, oops, I misspelled that. I also putting up my YouTube channel for the Uncle Talks YouTube channel. So if you guys have missed anything within this podcast, or like you're just tuning in right now, like, you know, hopefully you're enjoying us like doing the chit chats over here.
Yeah.
And we do this like every second Monday of the month. So we've been debating on whether to call this like second Monday podcast, or we're gonna call that say thought podcast. Like, you know, thought as in like thinking about it. So, you know, like if you're watching this on YouTube, like put in the comments on what you think the name should be. So the two names are Second Monday Podcast or Say Thought Podcast. You know, like, you know, thought as in like your thoughts in your brain. So.
And if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, of course, feel free to add that in.
Yeah. Like if you would like us to talk about things like revolving around anime or anything about life, we're more than happy to do both, or any topic in general.
I want to. Speaking of a topic, I listed a topic in here that I do want to slightly go over, since it'll be interesting to hear your perspective on it, since you play more gacha games than I do.
Yeah, sure, go on.
So, gacha apparently is a huge money maker. I just learned recently.
Yeah.
They make so much money, like obscene amounts of money.
Yeah.
I think I saw a lawsuit recently with the Department of Justice with Genshin.
Oh yeah, I know about that. I know what story you're talking about. That was hilarious.
Yeah. And what do you think of that? So, from my understanding, it's like, oh well, they got fined by the government, but it's like they make so much money that it's just like pennies to them, you know? Like,
yeah. Okay, so I have I have a bit of a tiff with this one because I mean, obviously Genshin is like one of the games that I play, right? But the one grievance I had, it brought flashbacks to me, right? So when I was in college, guys, like in community college, I was part of an anime club, and what happened is that we got the college newspaper one day, and the college newspaper was a smear campaign against our club. They basically said a lot of untrue things in the article that felt like you would probably say is fake news. And when we read the paper, a lot of us were outraged, but at the same time, like, because like they were saying, like, because we held an event, right, a video game event where people could come in and play video games, right? But then, like, some of our friends were cosplaying, and some of them were cosplaying as, like, you know, like Meido, and, like, you know, like, they were dressed up, like, in maid outfits, some of them were. And the person that wrote the article, it was as if they were trying to say that we were just a bunch of nerds, we were creepy, and, you know, like, they even said things like we were, like, you know, like, we weren't respecting, like, genders equally and all that stuff. And, like, you know, that really rubbed us the wrong way. And there were, like, members of us that were women in the club. And, like, a lot of us, we were like, yo, what the heck? We didn't do anything wrong. And, like, I don't know what happened, because I think, like, I think what happened, like, I think the staff just left it alone. Like, I mean, like, the club staff. Like, I think they just left it alone. But a lot of people felt a real bad taste in their mouth. And when I read about this article with Genshin, it brought that back. And then I was like, I was looking at the actual report they did on Genshin. And, like, I saw videos on it. And I was like, yo, they got, like, a lot of facts about Genshin so wrong. What one part was, like, they were talking about how there's, like, this event in Genshin where you can play, it's like prop hunt, where you can actually disguise yourself as a barrel or a chair, and you hide, and your friend who is it, like, tries to find you. They made that as if that was the main premise of the game, to lure children to play the game.
I mean, Call of Duty has prop hunt.
Yeah, but it's not, like, the actual main premise of the game. Like in the actual law, in the actual report, they made it as if it was the main premise of the game to lure kids that were younger than 13 to play. And that was completely like false. And anyone that plays Genshin knows this. And it was so bad because like they were pulling out like I think footage from like different creators, like content creators, and for some reason, like I'm not gonna like, because I don't have the full report in my like in front of me, so I'm not gonna like say stuff that I don't fully understand or know from the report. But I just find it very interesting that they decided to hit Genshin with this instead of like, I understand the wrong that Hoyo did, right? Obviously they should put like some sort of disclaimer that basically says if you're under the age of 13 you shouldn't be playing this game, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like cuz like Hoyo, right? They actually wanted this game to be towards like young adults and like college students. Right? But a lot of kids ended up playing it because the story is so engaging, right? And it's anime characters, right? But the way the report was written, it just seems like, oh, it's cartoons, so obviously it must implore like children to play it. You know? So it's like that old school Western mentality, like cartoons are for kids. Like that's how I read the actual report. And like, and I think I know why Genshin was picked out for this. One, it's from China. Two, it's anime based. Like it's based off anime, and like this is something that I like. If anyone in the comments wants to, or the chat wants to disagree with me, please disagree with me, because like I really hope that I am wrong about this. But I think the Western world, like whether it be America, Australia, or like Europe, they really don't like people that are into anime. They really think that anime is just this weird thing that involves like, you know, like weirdos. Like that's like
Genshin is the second most profitable gacha. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe it is.
I think they were number one, but I felt like they recently got surpassed, right? By LED.
Yeah, probably.
The new one, LED.
I know that Honkai Star Rail also won an award for like being like, I guess, the most downloaded phone game, like one time. So like, you know, honestly, like I don't know if the numbers have changed. If anyone in the chat like knows if like Genshin has been overthrown, please let us know. Or if Genshin was like the top number one at one point. So like let us know about that. But yeah, like I think like the reason why this report came out was because one, it's from China, and two, it's like anime based. So they knew they had to bring up like, I guess, like a way to regulate games in this type of fashion, because it's like, oh, it's from China, so obviously we can target it. I mean, like that's just a conspiracy that's really just like based on what I think, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna say it is fact. But like, you know, there's still same scenarios, like, you know, with like Fortnite and other games that have the same type of thing where you can pay money to actually get skins and all that stuff. Yeah. Loot boxes, yeah. And why weren't those games actually discussed? No one's talking about the American games that do the same thing. Now, I understand Genshin is a gacha and those games are not gachas, but at the same time, like if you're afraid of kids spending money and giving out personal information on video games, you have to bring out everybody, including the American-made ones. That's it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of American parents don't want, like parents that are citizens of the U.S. don't want their kids spending money on video games that they never asked to spend money on. You know? That's just my take on it. But you know, like if you guys disagree with me, you can disagree with me if you like. But that's just how I feel about it. I just think Genshin was just targeted because it's just so much easier, because it's a foreign game and plus it has anime characters in it. And, you know, like, even though in the West we still think anime is becoming a little bit more popular, still some people still think it's weird, and it's usually the older generation that think it's absolutely weird. And I don't blame them for thinking it's not weird, but when you involve it with law and justice and like politics, that's when it gets a little bit hairy, because then you know, like, it's just as bad as when the UN was trying to prevent, like, I think Visa from actually having like any affiliation with any anime related services.
Oh yeah.
That was like completely unnecessary, and I was like, why? Like, who asked for this?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the gacha world, but I did see that, you know, the headlines, so to speak.
I mean, I did get a little bit triggered, but at the same time, like, it didn't surprise me though. Because it was obviously written by the report was obviously written by someone that didn't play the game and then didn't bother wanted to research it. And usually when it's these type of issues, they don't bother, because they usually look at face value and they basically try to look for stuff that supports their point of view, which is inherently biased, but, like, you know, like, hopefully AI remedies that. like you know, like with AI popping off, I think, like, I mean, like, some people say it's overhyped, and I agree with them. Yeah, like, AI could be overhyped, but I do believe that AI will eventually, like, make almost like a lot of jobs obsolete, because, like, it's knowledge base, because knowledge is no longer scarce anymore. And the thing of it is that I don't think anyone would want this, but I think there will be one day an argument where people will be like, we want AIs to be politicians, because obviously when human politicians come into power, they get greedy, they think of power for themselves, they don't think of the common good and all that stuff. And, like, some people, like, I mean, not now, because we're so, like, into, like, putting human tendencies on AI, so we're so afraid of them taking over and basically, like, making us, like, the primary animals in their zoos. But
yeah,
I know one day in the future, people will be, like, into, like, the algorithm of actually having AI in control. Like, they basically would be like, the AIs will protect us. They will make sure that we stay in shape. They will make sure that we will live a society that is abundant. And, like, they will make sure that we humans do our best to be productive for our own health and our own safety. You know? I feel like that's gonna come. But at the same time... But at the same time, like, you know, like, maybe it won't. And, you know, there will still be human leaders. But I feel like AI assistance is going to make it that much more harder for people that have, like, I guess, knowledge-based jobs to remain in those jobs.
Wouldn't there always be skepticism that there's always, like, human input to AI, right? Like, oh, somebody had programmed the AI, so it must be influenced to go one way or the other.
Yeah, and I think, like, someday in the future, like, once AI becomes so good that it can program an AI to make an AI, I think that's the point where people are like, yeah, let's forget about being separate countries, because, like, we have an AI that's literally made by an AI, and we can have it govern the world. Like, it will enforce the laws, because we no longer need politicians or, like, a police chief or commissioner to tell the police force to actually engage with a certain activity, because we have AI that is not governed by a government or a system. It's governed by its own programming. So, you know, that day might come, you know, like, and we might eventually become a global society. Or, like, people will be like, oh, we're still living in separate countries, but, you know, there's going to be a lot of things that unite us. Like, it might not be, like, laws. It might be just economic policies that make the transition much easier. Like, you know, like, people are like, oh, even though we're separate countries, like, we're still bent on one law, but it's not a law within the country. It's a law within the algorithm of the AI that somehow gives us the benefits within every part of society in the world, no matter where we are in the world. You know? So I think, like, it's going to be, like, you know, like, obviously humanity is going to be, like, the layer 1. But then we're going to have a layer 2, which is, like, AI-based. I mean, that's my take on it. But I'm probably, like, overhyping, because I still don't understand the technology, the way it's set up, or the way it's going to develop. Because I am not a specialist in that. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
AI is kind of gonna be interesting in a sense that like there's gonna be physical limitations eventually, right? With computation.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the nanoscaling or whatever, where it's like getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
But it exponentially gets harder and harder to like do the big breakthrough. But
yeah,
I think a lot of things have to be like done by AI first before I even think of like its implementation in politics. Being that like, oh, I wonder if AI can say like give you a diagnosis if you have like, you know, you can plug in your symptoms and then maybe the AI can give you like essentially, oh, here's what I think you have.
Oh,
go
yeah.
Get some testing.
Like, forget about plugging in your symptoms yourself. Like, it's practically going to be in your toilet. It's literally going to be in your toilet, and it's going to be an AI toilet, and basically the toilet's...
You have a doctor in your
You have a doctor, like even in your mirror, right? You're going to look in the mirror, and it's like, bruh, you got bags under your eyes, you've been sleeping like too much. That's like how the mirror's gonna talk to you. Like the AI is basically gonna be like, yo, you ain't your fabulous self. Yo, you gotta treat yourself right. It's gonna be like that, you know, like your mirror, your bathroom is practically gonna be like you know, yo, you ain't taking care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Like I bet you, like your refrigerator, like if you give it a command, it's like, I want a cake, and it's like, but according to your bathroom intake, it seems that your sugar intake is right high. So why don't I recommend a vegetable salad? And it is like, no, I want a cake. It's like, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I cannot endanger your health. Here is this chicken salad with vegetables. Of course, like many people will turn that into a nightmare scenario where it's like Hal basically like, I'm sorry, John, I can't let you do that.
That's a pretty good impression.
I wasn't even trying to do an impression. That's just
practice
no, that's just my actual voice. I was just actually just saying it.
That's hilarious.
Apparently I make a good Hal. I'm sorry, John, I can't let you do that.
You should be an AI voice.
No. I like the last thing people want is basically it's like, you have an appointment at 10 a.m. with Dr. So-and-so about your bladder problem. or like it's like someone's at the front door. I believe their name is Sarah. They're selling Girl Scout cookies. I don't know.
Isn't there an AI VTuber? It's Neuro somehow or something, right?
I think so. Actually, it's kind of funny because like there was like I think an AI generated anime channel on Twitch.
Wow.
It's completely made from AI, and like you could tell like the scripting and the animation, it's all from AI, but it's just so weird because it's like an AI made the thing, and you're like, wow, you're actually watching a legit kind of show in some way. There was like actually like an AI channel, like one of my friends showed me. They would have like, I think like they would have like old Seinfeld clips, and like they would have like an AI generate animation to like, I guess Seinfeld like episodes that the AI invented. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, like there was even one where like one of my friends showed me like an AI generated like, I think like sort of like a fight simulator, where it's like they would take characters from video games, right? And you would literally bet like Twitch bits to see who would win, right? So it was literally like an AI generated sports channel.
Wow.
In some way, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, like AI is coming, and I'm like, sheesh, I didn't realize it was this. Like, obviously, like, you know, it's not perfect, right? You can tell it was made by an AI because of the way it stammers or the way it's like giving really weird dialogue, but at the same time it's like, you know, it's like practically coming, you know. And like, I mean, whether it may not be like in the form of robot assistance yet, but at the same time it just feels as if it's generating stuff that we humans take for granted, like entertainment, you know. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if an AI makes a very, very, really good video game. It wouldn't surprise me about that, because a lot of people, like, when with the hype of AI, right, a lot of people believe that coders are gonna basically not be, they're not gonna have a job anymore because AI can do it. Now, of course, like, that's not now. Like, I'm not saying that's now and coders should stop.
Yeah, probably, like, what, like 10 more years, maybe?
Yeah, I think, like, let's see, what year is it? 2025, right? So I would say, like, by 2030, we should know if coders are still needed.
Wow.
I would say, because, like, the minimum year they said was 2030. That they basically said that AI will practically be fully integrated by that time, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty soon. And I think that's why cryptocurrency is becoming very big, because with the current system right now, like, you can't use fiat currency to basically make the AI work automatically. Like, if you want it, because the reason why I think, like, people, like, make AI and crypto kind of synonymous with each other in some ways is because they want the AI to actually use the money to actually buy stuff for building your own business without actually you having to do the heavy work for yourself.
Okay.
So, like, the AI will have the ability to go into, like, your bank account and spend the money for you, rather than you having to set up, like, you know, the LLC, or for you to actually do all the paperwork stuff. And, like, I think that's the reason why AI and crypto are considered a big deal now, because at least in the US, because they want to create systems where it's like an AI can create every type of business you can think of if you have an idea. But the thing of it is that there's so many precautions to prevent people from spending fiat money to actually, like, because it's for good reasons. Like, you don't want to create a business that's a scam, right? So they have to make sure that you're creating a business that's a legit business, and, you know, and I understand that, but there's so much red tape in creating, like, a said business that many people are like, AI can get this done within a couple of seconds with, like, you know, getting an approval to build a bridge, right? It's like, some people are like, yeah, we have to make sure that it's stable and stuff. But at the same time, there's so much red tape that people are like, why hasn't this bridge been built? It's obvious that we should update building this bridge. But then people in government basically say, oh, we haven't had enough votes for it. You know? It's like the red tape is kind of preventing us, even though it's meant to protect us, it's also kind of like preventing us from making progress. You know?
Sure.
And I think that's why people want, like, AIs to actually, like, kind of take over, because it's like they want to, like, actually have efficiency.
Okay, so yeah, so like AI is essentially doesn't come with the same amount of red tape and bureaucracy.
Yeah, because like think about court cases, right? Because like I think you mentioned it to me when we were discussing it before our last podcast. Like, the courthouses are so backlogged, right? But you can read the case files, and the case files are so obvious that you're like, oh my gosh, this could be solved within, like, a judge basically saying, okay, I see the evidence, boom, boom, the case has been resolved. Next case. But the problem is that a judge actually has to officially look at that, and, like, they're backlogged, so they can't go over every case right away with the same amount of proficiency. So, like, you know, like, many people don't like the idea, but I think, like, you know, AI judges, like, if they look at the evidence and it's very, very obvious, then, you know, they can get cases done within a matter of seconds. You know, so that way people don't feel like they're backlogged and they have to wait a long time for their case to be resolved.
I guess a lot of it will hinge on how obvious something is.
Yeah.
A lot of things are gray.
Yeah, because, like, I understand, because there is a gray area at certain points and you have to have discretion. But there are some that are just completely, like, just a no-brainer, you know? And I think that's why people want those no-brainer ones to be out of the way, so we can focus on the ones that do require a little discretion. You know? Because that makes more sense, right? Because, like, we make room for, like, the ones that can be completed right away to make room for the ones that actually do require a lot of attention and detail and care. You know. Now, of course, that's an idealism, but you know, I think that's the reason why a lot of people want to rely on companies in big tech to make these conveniences. I mean, like, what do you think? What do you think about it?
Hey, it's. I'll be interested to see because it'll be gradual getting there. I'm still a lot of skeptical. I'm kind of still skeptical of AI in general. Especially when it comes to like resolving like a gray, something that's gray, you know.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think like the thing of it is that we should have human judges, but only for those cases that require the gray area.
Perhaps.
I think
maybe AI is probably best used to assist.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I agree. That's what it's meant for. It's meant to assist like people to do the jobs that we kind of don't want to do it because it's too tedious.
Yeah, because interpretation is like it's like an art. It's like very subjective.
Yeah.
You know, like when you think of like Supreme Court interprets this and that.
Yeah.
They're almost never a 9-0. You know.
Right.
They're always split.
Yeah.
Even just looking at the same words, people interpret it like different ways.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, like, but I think like with AI, that's gotten better. So they're able to interpret different words. Like, like, and think about the word "the," right? Or like "it." Like you know, like an AI can interpret "it" and "the" in so many different ways. But like, I think with the latest like robot Optimus that they released from Tesla, they actually had like the robot actually have a full-on conversation with a human. And like, I think there was a video where it shows like a Tesla robot like cleaning the dishes, and like the person that's commanding the AI or the robot basically told them put that in the dry dispenser, and then basically like the robot understood it and just understood the words and just put the plate in the dry dispenser.
Wow.
So I feel like we're coming a long way. Now obviously it's not perfect, because obviously this is not up for distribution yet, because like, you know, the first people to get it is either the military or rich people. You know.
Of course.
So yeah.
China released a like a chat GPT recently.
Yeah. Are you talking about DeepSeek?
DeepSeek, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of funny like how DeepSeek like kind of like freaked out the market because but I think like after what happened with it, it's like it wasn't fully secure. And I think they discovered that there was some sort of like like security breach with it.
Oh,
like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if that is true, guys. Like, you know, you can correct me in the comments down below or like in the chat, like to basically tell me I'm wrong, because I thought I heard that there was a security breach after the big scare when the markets went down.
Wow.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I accept the fact that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. But I think I've heard something about that. Like, it was cheap to make, but I think it wasn't fully secure. And I actually did try it, and I was like, it didn't feel any different than ChatGPT. The only thing that it felt different was that there was not much of a price tag on it, as far as I was aware of. So, you know, honestly, like, you know, whichever side wins on that, like, obviously the US is competing with China. And, you know, like, NVIDIA even saw it. They saw that the United States was trying to cheat.
Yeah.
They were like I'm not saying like, you know, like both countries are benevolent or anything like that. No, don't get me wrong. Like, what I'm saying is that the US did intentionally try to cheat. They tried to like make things work in their favor, and you know, like we played like the aggressive, what do you call it? The aggressive champion, while like, you know, like China had to basically take on the underdog role in that, and they ended up making DeepSeek. Now, obviously DeepSeek is not perfect, but it did take down the markets because everyone got scared. So, you know, this is what happens. this is what happens. Like, this is how resilient human beings get, especially when you try to deprive them of resources.
Ooh. Speaking of AI, just to backtrack just a little bit.
Yeah, go on.
What do you think of AI that will automatically trade for you?
We already have those.
Like, does it make profit though?
I mean, if you're obviously you have to have the experience of a trader, I think. Like, if you want to go long, then basically you set your stop loss and...
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. But I meant like, like a fully automated AI that literally does everything for you. Say like I day trade, like a day trader.
Yeah.
AI, I wonder if there's people that develop stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you could set up an AI to do that for you already. That's a thing.
That's crazy.
The thing of it is that the problem is that I think that the AI lacks is that it doesn't read the chart like a trader would. The only thing you can set up to do is make the trades automatic.
Oh, but it doesn't like make decisions for you though. Like
no,
it doesn't tell you when to sell, or it doesn't like sell for you or buy.
There are products that I think they're trying to do that. I think there are some financial products that are trying to do that. Like, I think there's... I forgot what it was called. But I think it would, like, when you bought something or when you traded something, it would let you know the reason why you would do that trade. Or something like that. And it's like, it has an AI built into it. But yeah, I think those are coming. In fact, like, the thing of it is that the reason why, like I said, I've said, like, AI and crypto are becoming this big thing is because they're trying to go from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. Now, obviously, it's overhyped, and I get it. It's, like, really overhyped. But at the same time, it's trying to make our society more technologically advanced. But it's meant to make the financial markets work in a more advanced way. Now, is it going to work and be successful? I don't know. That's my opinion on it. But at the same time, like, a lot of people have hope that, with AI coming in, they believe that this will bring more meaning to their lives. Because back in the 60s, when the Jetsons were released, the Jetsons theorized that we'll be working, like, less hours. I think, like, the joke was in George Jetson's time, he worked, like, 5 hours to 4 hours, or maybe 2 hours. I don't remember the time he would complain about how much he worked. But we don't have that. We're still working over 40 hours a week. And, people are like, what the heck? Why are we still working longer? And there's this book, I haven't read it, but I find it very funny. There's this book called Bullshit Jobs. And the more I look into it, when I read these job descriptions on Indeed and all that stuff, I feel as if, like, you just pulled that out of your butt. What is this? Like, there are certain positions there that I would find very hilarious, and I'm like, why is this made? And there's some positions that, like, boards of directors make because they want the person to stay, but they don't want them to, how should I say? They want to leverage the person, but they want to make it seem like they got a higher position, even though they're probably working for the same amount of pay. Now, of course, like, there's different companies. Like, some companies have really good intent and some companies have really bad intent. I think right now we're in the transition phase where, like, people believe that corporations are bad and corporations are evil. But at the same time, I think what we as people need to do is, like, okay, we're gonna stop the blame game here. Like, people blame the government, some people blame corporations, some people blame, like, this entity or that entity.
Right.
What I think we need to do is that, yeah, I know that some corporations do have really bad intentions, but there are also corporations that have really good intentions to basically help out society. I basically will be straight and basically say we have to have the good corporations fester out the bad ones. And I mean really scan them, because the thing of it is that y'all are in the same business, like the people that are in the same business, like I don't want to say genre, the same market. If they're in the same market, right? like you know who the players are that you would have to go up to avoid, right?
Sure.
So it's
you
like
avoid like, I don't know, Uber or even
like you met their directors, right? Like you met their CEO. Yeah, their CEO seems fine, and then you basically like have people that work there, right? Which people in the company are like bringing people down and ruining the environment? Because like, you know, like, I mean, that's really up to like higher management to do, right? But at the same time, is higher management just basically trying to make a quota, right? Are they like, you know, like, is the quota more important than the actual culture of the company, right? And that's and that's not easy fix. That's not an easy fix. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but I'm saying if we want the markets to be a free market and help themselves and make people stop like complaining about how evil corporations are, or how evil billionaires are, or how evil the government is to serve the billionaires or whatnot. I think the thing of it is that we gotta have the responsibility to say, hey, you guys are in this world. So the people that are in this world, I know all of y'all are not all bad. So can you at least like find a way to fester out the bad ones out, because they're giving you guys a bad name, you know? So I think like it's really like a responsibility that a lot of people didn't ask for, but at the same time it's like same as basically saying that like, you know, like I was part of an anime club, right? Like, you know, it's our responsibility to basically like tell people, hey, you guys are being weird. Like, you know, like a lot of people don't like the look of what we're doing because of the actions you're doing, right? And any society does that. Like a town does that. That's why we have like the police force, you know, like to make sure that people don't break the law, right? So, you know, like I think we have to do something. Like, I'm not saying police everybody, right? But what I'm saying is that we have to have the clarity to basically like talk to people and basically say, hey, you're kind of like creating this weird tension, and like we need to actually make sure that our market is not seen in this particular light. Because obviously a lot of people will say that, oh, this market is corrupt because they, you know, they did something to this market, or they manipulated this market, you know, like you know, like some people will say invest into gold or something like that. Of course, I'm not giving investment advice, right? So investment advice. But I'm just giving examples. Like this is not investment advice or whatever. So like, you know, like some people will say invest in gold, right? But then like a lot of people will basically say, well, you don't know how manipulated the gold market is. And then like when you look behind the layers, yeah, there are a little bit of manipulation within the market. And it's not just gold, it can also be any market you pick, right? So I think basically we know that there's a problem. We just have to be able to like do do heavy lifting to basically try to fester in to see if we can we know we have the cure. It's just that we have to find a way to make the cure go to the right places. And that's usually the hard part. I mean, that's what I think, but of course, like, you guys may think that, oh, you're making it sound so easy, and I'm like, no, it's not easy. I'm just basically saying that's what I think a solution is. But for all of us to actually, like, still remain together and not have to complain about yelling at each other, whether it be the difference in our religion or politics or whatever, you know? Because, like, all of us live in a bubble, and I get it, and I probably am in a bubble. Because I'm very optimistic, and some people might think that, oh, because of my optimism, I must be very naive. You know?
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, that doesn't mean I can't basically have a voice to basically say, I think we could try to do this. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try the next thing. And we'll try the next thing. And if it doesn't work, then we just keep doing another thing. As long as it's different, it's not the same old thing. You know? Like, I apologize if I seem like I was ranting there, but...
Yeah, he is ranting. I hear you. I mean, you know, there are billions of people in the world, right? And
yeah. And
we
of
all
course...
have our own perspectives and our own opinions.
Yeah. Because, like, not everyone's bad, and not everyone's, like, all good either. But at the same time, we're just humans living our lives, and, you know, like... It's easy to basically say, oh, if my dad or my mom or my friend, if they basically change this one side of them that I don't like, then, you know, all would be good. But at the same time, you know, you're also taking away a part of what makes them unique and what makes them the people that you love, you know? So, like, for me, I gave up long ago of actually trying to convince people to change. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I can't make people change. And you know, like because if I wanted people to change a lot, I would remove a lot of people that were snarky to me. 'Cause-
Oh.
but I can't change that part because I like the more I try to remove it, like I try to avoid snarky people, I still encounter them. So like you know, I have to ask myself why I get triggered by people that are snarky. I get triggered by people that are snarky because it seems like they're not taking what I'm saying seriously.
And I've heard the.
And also, they're not taking my
VTubing
feelings seriously. You know?
Yeah, I heard the VTubing community had some, you know, people that are essentially like in there just for the cloud or something, you know?
Yeah.
The backstabbers or whatever. It's just
Yeah,
a
I mean,
rule.
like, the thing of it is that, like, I'm not here to prove anything. And, you know, like, there's some people that are, and they try to, like, prove, like, they're the most smartest in the room. They try to prove, like, you know, they're the most skillful, they're the most charismatic. But at the same time, like, why are you trying to prove something? And, you know, like, for me, it's like, I think it's just too tiring to do that stuff. And I think in society, we always try to prove that, oh, I am a human being that works, and I'm an adult who is responsible. Because, like I told Rainier this last night, I really hate the word adulting. I really hate that freaking word. The reason why I hate that word is because it makes adults feel like they have to put themselves on a pedestal to basically say, I am being a responsible adult, so you should treat me as if I am this responsible adult, and I should get the privileges of being looked upon as if I'm the most responsible piece of cheese in society. That's what I really hate about that word. Now, you know, a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that, and I understand that. Because it's the same thing with hustle culture. I really hate it when people say, I love the hustle. But at the same time, like, you know, if they want to work like 24 hours a day and that gives them energy and it makes them feel fulfilled, I'm not going to tell them not to do that. But for me, I just don't like it when people say that I should do that in order to better my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just that that doesn't apply to you.
Yeah, it's not healthy. I don't think it's healthy for me.
That's good.
Which is why I think, like, when people try to think of their own workout routine, it's like,
Yeah.
try to think about what you would actually do. And, like, try to make that fun, and, like, maybe you'll be able to make something creative that not many people thought of. Maybe you'll think of a workout routine that actually works the abs much better than, like, the workouts that are out now, you know? And that's fun, because you actually find something that's, like, uniquely yours. And then, what if your thing helps out someone else that you just kind of taught, like a friend or a family member, and you're like, yo, I did what you said, and I actually built, like, I lost a lot of weight, and I'm like, that's good, you know? And then, like, you show more and more friends, and then suddenly, like, you realize that you taught someone a skill that they never thought they were capable of, you know?
Right.
So I think, like, basically, like, if you really want to stick out, you know, just, like, be creative with things that you know that you can create on your own. And, you know, you never know. Sometimes those creative ideas can, like, help a lot of people. And it could also, like, revolutionize their lives. And that's how you get the money flowing, usually. Usually. Because usually, like, people give money to people, like, you know, like, people give money to Apple because Apple has proven themselves to be, like, a reliable product. But how did they do that? Like, but how did they get there? It started with somebody who basically wanted to create computers for themselves and wanted to create something like, you know, like, was it Steve Jobs? Like, that originally... It was originally Steve Jobs, right? I didn't want to get that wrong. Because I don't know that much about Apple, though. But, like, it's just an example I put out because everybody knows Apple, right? So, you know, like, it always started with someone who was trying to do something that they wanted to enhance their own life, right? So, sure, the money will come in very, very slowly, and it does. But, you know, like, would you want the best relationship in your life to come in very, very fast and end very fast? Or do you want it to come to you as slow as possible and then makes it more... and have it come to you in the most naturalistic way possible?
Yep.
And that's hard to do because it requires a lot of waiting. You know? So, I mean, that's
no adulting over here, guys.
Yeah. I mean, the thing of it is that we want you to be responsible, but don't feel as if... Don't make your responsibility, like, I guess, don't make your responsibility an entitlement for yourself. That's what I'm saying. Because, like, I know a lot of people want to be able to use their, like, I work for a living. I deserve to, like, you know, have these privileges, you know? Because, like, you know, we pay taxes and people work, and, like, and I get it, like, people, like, I work at a job that I hate, I pay my taxes, what else do you want from me? You know, like, you know, it's like, this is the reason why I think there are people that are very, very cruel to customer service. Because they feel as if, like, they want everything to run smoothly because they just, like, detest the way things are for them. But they feel like they can't change it because they feel as if, like, they're just part of this rat race, you know?
Yep.
Now, of course, I'm not saying you should quit your job because you hate it. Like, you know, you have to have a plan first. And, like, you know, that's the fun part, too. Like, if you can create a plan that works for you and you save up, like, enough money to be, like, a good cushion for yourself, and you just leave your job and you're like, yeah, I can leave and I can do whatever I need to do, you know? I mean, like, you know, like, as long as you have a plan and have a good support system, it sometimes works. And, you know, sometimes the support system doesn't work out the way you think. And I get that.
Yep. Make sure you have your ass covered.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the world is cruel out there. But do not be cruel, even though the world is cruel.
Yeah, like, yeah, because, like, I would phrase it a different way. So the world is just naturally the way it is. It's just the world. It's neither cruel nor blessed.
Okay.
Because, you know, bad things will happen, and you can't control the bad things that happen. It's how you react to the bad things. That's what matters. And of course, like, it's going to be hard for you to resist the feeling of having your tears flow, or it's going to be hard for you to resist punching the wall because something really, really bad happened to you. And I get that. And, you know, I'm not going to say I understand how you feel, because whatever you're feeling is whatever it is that you're going through. Hey, Jay, thanks for the lurk. But all in all, I do believe that there is a way to actually, you know, face the things that kind of occurred in your life, and there's a healthy way of actually, like, facing those things without having to punch yourself in the dirt, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, like, you're being an ostrich and you're hiding your head under the soil. You will have to face it, but at the same time, it's like, face it in doses. Like, you know, you're basically have the band-aid, but don't pull the band-aid all the way off. Like, basically pull it slowly if you're afraid of, like, ripping the skin. But if you want to pull the band-aid all the way off, like, you'll face it that way. There's many different ways, but there's no right or wrong answers on how you approach it.
Find your own approach. Find your own path to life.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like 10 o'clock on my side, Rainier, so... is this about the time that you have to go?
I'd say so, yes.
Okay, guys. Well, you heard us basically, I guess, like... Well, you heard a majority of myself rant.
I love it. I would like to let you rant because you have interesting thoughts.
I don't know if it's productive, though. Is it productive? I mean, from where you're sitting? I feel like I talked over you a lot.
Like, the thing is, like, my view of life is already solved for me. Like, I already have my own set of values that I've come through life experiences.
Right.
But I obviously think that the other people can use your words. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're not meant to, like, give an advice or something, I think just by putting out your perspective out there in the world, some other people can make use of it.
Right.
I may not necessarily make use of it because, like I said, I have my own, like, perspective on it.
Yeah. Even though I like content creating, like, I don't know if that's, like, actually my calling, to be honest with you. I just feel more comfortable doing it because it's like, I don't have to worry about wearing a suit. I don't have to worry about, like, posturing. It's just like, I'm just me. And, you know,
you're not trying to think of tatamai, as they say in
yeah, like, so if you guys don't know, tatamai is, like, sort of like social face. Like
Yeah,
it's a Japanese term. Yeah, it's like basically the face you put in society, you know. So anyway, do you have anything to say to our global audience before we depart?
No, I guess just make sure. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and make sure you tune into the next one. We'll do it every second Monday.
Yeah.
And check out Peter's math thing if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
probably suggest if you are studying something, and that's something I would suggest to everyone, especially like just learn something, right? It's always good to keep your brain active. My suggestion would be like, if you want to learn a language, then you could hit up like Duolingo or any other different sites out there.
Yeah.
Or I think brilliant.com or something like that.
Brilliant.org, yeah.
Brilliant.org is pretty good.
Not sponsored, by the way, but we would like to get sponsored. we would like to get sponsored by those platforms.
Right, but that's not to say I'm not promoting a specific company. It's just more like I do recommend people to always like keep your brain active, keep your brain going.
Yeah, especially when you get older. Yeah, when you get older, it gets much harder to learn new things. So, like, when I got out of school, right, and already at the age of 30, it's hard for me to keep focus on a single book, because my attention is, like, because, like, when you think about when you're in school, right, you studied, like, about, like, 5 to 6 subjects. And now when I look back, I'm like, how did I do all that? Like, when your brain ages, you don't want to learn as much. And it gets harder to, like, keep that muscle going,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say, like, Rainier like basically gave like awesome like insight on that. So like it doesn't have to be something complex, like, and if you're studying something and it feels boring but it's something that excites you, maybe you have to change the study method. Don't read a book, like watch a YouTube video or something, and then try to put the thing that you learn in the YouTube video into practice. Maybe that will help you better, and then that will make it feel more fun for you.
Yeah. We covered a lot of topics. Let's see. Let me just do a recap real quick. We talked the first half was about anime.
Yep.
Your workout, AI, and then adulting.
and adulting.
And snarky people out there.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say advice. I would say like based on like what I observe mainly. Because I felt like I was just talking, like, basically from my experiences.
Yeah, and I'm only doing this summary because I told Peter before that I'm not the type of person that's really good at remembering prior conversations. So I'm actually keeping a note and tabs on what topics we've covered so that we don't all
So if you're watching this live stream, be sure to drop me a follow, please, because like we do these podcasts every second Monday of the month, so it's not very often. And if you want to see me play video games, like whether it be like Fortnite or gacha games, or like I might actually play Hogwarts Legacy. So but I don't know when. So be like if you want to catch up with that, like just drop me a follow, and maybe I'll be able to play that like one day during stream. In addition, I did put up the raid message, so we're gonna raid into like my mod / best friend John's channel. So Rainier said his piece, so I will say mine before we depart. If you're first, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment and like hit the like button, and also subscribe if you're watching this for the first time. And as I usually say to you guys at the end of every stream, everyone is precious. You guys are just as precious as everyone else. And we will see you guys on John's channel. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.